Okay, what were we doing? All right, so hey everybody, it's the indie show thing. Whoa! So this is our very first episode of what I'm tentatively calling DEVSOLUTELY, which is all about meeting a game developer as the super cool creative dudes and dudettes that they are. And so this is Benjamin Red.
Hey everyone, how's it going?
He's a game developer that actually works out of the same office space that we do. He's there right now. I'm not. I'm home. Otherwise, we could probably do it in the exact same spot, but that wouldn't be a good test. So that's part of why I didn't do that.
That makes sense, yeah. Thank you so much for having me on the show, by the way.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for being basically you're my test victim. So you knew that going into it. He's actually very bravely volunteered, I guess, to do this. So.
I come from Twitch, so this
Yes.
is a place where I am at home.
Yes, Twitch is a good place. It is safe mostly. I did get one suggestion from people, and Metalhead is bringing it up right now, and that was to ask every single person on the show to take their pants off beforehand. But we at the office, you see these giant windows behind him. That would not work.
Funny thing about that is that this street is literally right there. Like I'm pointing at like a public space right now. In fact, I'm pointing at the night janitor, who is probably wondering why I'm pointing at him. So it would be difficult for me to do that. I'm so sorry. It didn't even occur to me that I would be doing this naked. I should have planned ahead. Should have planned better.
Yeah.
I'm like, could I construct some sort of privacy curtain? But I don't know if I really.
If you were in the privacy of your own home or someplace with no windows, on a scale of 1 to 10, how willing would you be to take your pants off right now?
Even if it was just like later in the evening and there weren't people literally right there, I don't know. I would do that. It's the internet, right? Like, this isn't like, it's not like church, I guess. I don't know what's.
Right. Would you take your pants off in church?
I'm actually, I guess, I assume that you're not supposed to. I'm not. I haven't been as recently to know like what's the current etiquette. Like maybe, I don't know if they like is that a thing that they do now? I don't know.
Fair enough. Yeah, times change, right? Maybe there's like after you eat the little biscuit and you drink the little grape juice, you take your pants off. It could be a new step, right? Yeah, that works.
I mean, who knows what goes on in those little booths?
Oh, jeez.
If I keep talking, I'm gonna say something like sacrilegious, so I probably should.
No, that's good. You can be as sacrilegious as you want. This is the internet. You're free to speak.
Hey, internet. How's it going? I apologize if I've offended anyone yet, and I apologize if I offend anyone else before the end of the show.
I accept all responsibility for any offensive things that Benjamin says because I can just kick him later. So. But so yeah, this is the show. So my hope for this first little bit is for you to actually do kind of what most interviewee things would be, which is kind of tell us a little bit about you and the things that you're working on, and maybe you could even show us a couple little things if you've got some sneak peeks that are happening.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, all right. So go. Action.
So just to give a little background, I started in the industry, gosh, I guess it was about a decade ago. My background, my educational background is actually in software development, not necessarily in games development, but when I started looking at a career, it was really easy to decide that like games was the right path for me. My first professional gig was at Harmonix Music Systems it's now in Boston, but at the time it was in Cambridge, working on games like Rock Band and Central. And then just in the past several years, I started working independently. That's actually what brought me to the Manchester area and connecting with Robot Loves Kitty and the Game Assembly offices and everything. So now the projects that I'm working on are my own personal projects. as I mentioned, my background's in software development. Somehow I started working in tabletop game dev. So like my current projects, they actually I have a few digital projects that I'm working on, but I've been working with like paper and cardboard lately more than anything, which honestly I did not expect that in my own like professional path, but here we are.
I actually, I have a little bit of insider info as far as that goes because I vaguely recall you telling me something like forever ago before you joined Game Assembly that where you were in New Hampshire prior to Game Assembly, everybody that you were near was making, they were making physical games. And so you kind of thought, hey, I'll give this a shot. Is that kind of what happened or am I remembering wrong?
Actually that's exactly it. Before I came to Manchester, after I left the Boston area, I was out on the seacoast of New Hampshire, and it's a lovely place. If you like nature and scenery, it's very beautiful. That was actually where I got into biking because just like cruising around that area is so nice. It's not really a tech center, right? It's like it's not like it's the Stone Age or anything. Like people have technology there, but it's not necessarily a place where technology is coming from. So there wasn't really a scene to connect to, like in terms of like the software game dev industry. But yeah, like you were saying, what I found there was there is an active game development community, and yeah, they were who brought me kind of into this world, and it's through connecting and associating with them, that was kind of where I caught the bug for tabletop, and where I started working on my first like card game, board game type products.
That's really cool. Yeah, it's like you get influenced by the people who are around you and like their ideas and their experience, I guess, to some extent. So.
Oh yeah, I mean when I first started like going to like meetings and like design workshops and stuff, I told myself, oh, I'm just going because I'm just gonna go and chat and like see what these other people are working on. But like it was just a month in, the gears in my brain started turning, and just like the game ideas just started pouring forward, and eventually I couldn't resist, but just try one, see how it worked out.
And that's what you've been doing. This is your first tabletop extravaganza to some extent, yeah? Or have you?
Yeah, the way things are, like the way my project slate is looking right now, like perhaps my first like significant release as an independent developer could be possibly this year, and it could be one of these tabletop projects that I'm working on now.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
I'm excited.
Cool. Yeah, I have had the pleasure of getting to test out some of your stuff, so I know firsthand how it kind of works and what it looks like and stuff like that. But you said you teased a little bit when we were talking before. You said you had some things you could show people.
Yeah.
You want to give them a little bit idea of what your card game is about? It's called Cool Story.
Yeah.
I know things.
The name of the project is Cool Story. It's basically a game about sitting around a table and like making up like crazy scenarios, and just kind of, it's like I personally have like excess imagination. I have like this surplus of imagination that if I don't do anything with it, will basically just like spill other places. And so I wanted to make an outlet for that sort of thing. Oh yeah, I think so. I have on my screen. I'm gonna click over. Sorry, just a moment to. I think I can.
Oh, the screen share magic. Yeah.
So if I go like so. I think so. Some of this, if it's showing up at this point, is okay. A lot of it is like rough, like production sort of stuff. So you'll notice like the lines are all like overlapping and weird and don't completely make sense. And this is a work in progress. This is literally the file that I've been working on for the past week at least. Specifically, what I'm in the process of. Oh yeah. So sorry. So like in Cool Story, there eventually there will be these like cards which depict conditions, which are kind of like within the structure of the game, you can kind of influence characters to have different motivations and go to different locations. And so some of the symbolism represents like what are your specific goals when you're as a player of Cool Story at any given time. So like, for example, if you have this card, this indicates that you want one of the lead characters to basically fall in love, or that's a simplified version, but yeah, so that's kind of like what I'm setting up over here with the cards. And then the physical pieces that represent the characters themselves in Cool Story are what we have over here. Yeah, what I had at the start of the week and what I've been adapting a bit is basically like these. Like this is roughly what I want the physical components to look like for the final version. These are two-sided, so like each of these, like this purple one here, these represent two sides of the same card. Yeah, I had this mock-up that I did a couple months back, and what I'm in the process now of getting it basically ready to print. So here's the first example that I started to tackle. For one thing, there are like small design reworking. Like I'm still in the process of like adjusting some of the art. So you'll see like there are some like subtle differences just in like the size and the dimensions of the portrait and how everything lines up on the card.
Mm-hmm.
But the really important thing that I've been adding in lately are these little. So basically, like you can see the art actually like spills off the edges of the card, and I'm adding in these little crop lines. I think that's what these little marks are called. Because this is once I get rid of this line is just for like my own reference purposes, but this is basically what will get sent off to the printer, and this is what will with the manufacturing process, there's a little bit of imprecision. So you kind of have to account for the potential that maybe these cuts won't land quite exactly on the right mark. And so, a little fudge factor in either direction, you'll still get something that looks, still finished quality, no little like weird edges or lines around the side. And yeah, so once I'm finished with that step, that's when I'll actually have like a production quality, like quote unquote final prototype of Cool Story.
That's awesome. I think I've told you this in person, but I love the color choices that you've given them. They're so vibrant and just like this slightly not classic colors. Like, it's great.
Thank
And
you.
I'm gonna point this out because I'm pretty sure this is the case, but you've also given everything a unique pattern, and that's at least partially to like help people who are maybe colorblind. Is that part of the?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. I mean, just in general, it's nice to. So one thing you might notice about the characters in the game is that they basically they look like the people on like the crosswalk. Like there's not a lot going on with them. And I did that actually very intentionally. One of my goals for Cool Story was to make it so that you could tell any story using the same game pieces. So the characters are so incredibly simple. They're like as basic humanoid as you can possibly get, like so nondescript. With the individual stylings of the different cards, so not just having different colors, but in part having different colors and having these different patterns. So like there's like the checkers, there's the stripes, there's the circles. It just really enhances the visual. Like the immediate visuals of the card. So now when you glance at these individually, although they're all depicting something very similar, which is just this very basic humanoid form, they all have a little bit of visual differentiation like that. So just to make it seem like they're not literally all the same thing. So when you're telling a story, you can basically like put any character like any background or anything, any sort of ideas about the story onto these characters, but that during the game you'll have that to tell the difference. And as you pointed out, Alex, that's one thing. Like for people who are not color sighted, they don't have the color differentiation to go on, and so for them that's essentially all of the differentiation between the characters.
Right. Awesome. Okay, so now I have to ask, because I've played this before, and I've always put in like when you're adding your character to the game, it's always been human. What if I wanted to put in a horse or something like that? Could I put in a sentient horse, or is that strongly discouraged?
No, it is actually one of the things that I want to include in the instructions is basically encouragement to do so. Like I mentioned, like I ended up for the character designs going with a very simplified human because I wanted to. I mean, these are when you imagine them actually like printed out, like. I mean, in tabletop, there's no animation. There's nothing that there's no like nothing you can do to cheat like the characterization of these things. And so what I wanted is that when you glance at the physical component, I wanted it to say character. I wanted that to be like the first thing that pops into your head, or character, or like some sort of like entity, like like this represents an agent in the game. It was difficult to actually land on the humanoid form though, because I don't want to discourage people. Like if you want to tell a story about a horse, I like in fact in the instructions themselves, in the current versions, the example game involves 2 humans and a magical coconut named Gregory.
Magical
So,
coconut. Of
yeah,
course. Of
when
course.
people play this game, I hope they will like not take the humanoid form completely literally, and have tell whatever story
Awesome.
they are bursting to tell.
Very cool. Oh, that's neat. Do you want to switch back to just your
Oh,
face? Unless there's more stuff you wanted to show off.
I'm trying. Well, yeah, this is this is not necessarily the best working strategy necessarily, but just if I zoom out a little bit, you can kind of see like what has been my strategy with developing the art for the game. I've kind of just been working in like a singular document for a lot of this stuff. One thing that kind of helps is that I can basically like I can see basically all of the visual materials all in one shot just by zooming out, and so I can make sure like, is this like the visual language, like does this look cohesive? So that's kind of like how I have it laid out like this. The other thing you can see is I have like previous versions. Like this is the current version of the logo, for example. But then you can see over here I tried different font treatments and just general. Like I tried like the rounded version of the logo. This color, these like red, green, and blue things that was like a previous prototype where the cards were actually, they had like more symbols on them.
Oh,
And so
interesting.
design layout, and actually, yeah, so part of the reason they're messy right now is because I just flipped them horizontal. They had previously been standing
I see.
in portrait orientation. So yeah, that's a work in progress.
That's
But
awesome.
yeah, that's most of what there is to show here. So
Very cool.
I don't use Skype very often, but I
Me
was
neither. Skype is
previous.
evil, actually. I'd love to get a better solution because it's like, oh, half the time it doesn't work. Suddenly you're a robot voice. Like all kinds of things happen. I don't know.
If I did it correctly, the screen should have gone away though.
Yes, it is. It is good.
Okay.
Good job. I'm giving you the thumbs up. It's good. Um, there's also, I know that it's not like your current project, but since this is Twitch and you are, there's people watching, you want to tell them a little bit about your other game? Like the reason I kind of knew who you were on the internet was because, like
Oh,
us, you did, I guess, a Twitch type game,
yeah.
which you seem to forget about a lot. You sound surprised. You're like, oh, oh yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that was actually we mentioned briefly earlier in the show about kind of like how we ended up in the same place, and how it was kind of this like funny coincidence that like we both just happened to be doing similar things. Like we both we knew each other through Twitch before we'd even seen each other in person,
Hmm.
and yeah, it's like crazy coincidence of all. Like not only did we happen to be neighbors, but as far as I know, like there are not that many people working on like Twitch integrated projects. Like there are a few here and there, but they're certainly not the norm yet.
Hmm.
And going back several years, like they very much weren't then.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, the project that I was working on that had it was actually it was a project that ran entirely through Twitch. There was no game client, and everyone and like I think at the last time it had run, I think there were like something like tens of thousands of people who'd played the game, but like no one ever downloaded software to do it.
Hmm.
Like not even an in-game client. How the way the game works, it uses a band of visuals inside a Twitch client, and players slash viewers, anyone who tunes into that Twitch channel can interact with the project entirely through chat commands. So some of you savvy individuals out there might be thinking of something along the lines of a Twitch Plays sort of channel, and it did have a lot of similarities to that. The differences, I suppose, would be that this was this was a game made completely from scratch, from the ground up, specifically for Twitch, the Twitch platform, or it could be, I guess it could be adapted generally for a a generic live streaming platform, but it was it was, if you haven't gathered yet, it was kind of an odd project, and it, instead of taking an entire channel, it used it essentially like ran like side by side with essentially like anything you would want in like in a Twitch channel. So like I as a game dev streamer always ran it during my game dev streams, but like you could run it during like gaming marathons, you could run it during basically any content that works on Twitch. You could pair with oh, have I not even said the name of the game? Side quests. Yeah, you can. Side quest. So I named it Side Quest, in fact, because it's essentially an accompaniment to whatever you would want in your Twitch channel.
So like right now, if we had Side Quest running, you would probably be missing out on like an inch or two of Ben's chest.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to see the buttons on my shirt.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to see the buttons. Heaven forbid, such a loss.
Very nice.
But instead, there'd be all of these characters running along the side of the screen, and giving you options for things to do in chat. And I think as you go, you like get pets and cool outfits and stuff. And
yeah.
So it's something that is kind of tied to you as your username within that channel, and you get to do like all these cool things that are not interrupting or changing any content that's happening on the rest of the stream. So it's.
Is it okay if I put it? Is it okay if I put up a few more visuals, just because?
Oh yeah, go ahead, of course.
I'm just going to switch back to screen sharing for just a second. This is some of the. This is on my website. I guess I'll if anyone's interested in learning more, I'll put a link in chat to what we're seeing here, which is. So this is like basically the logo, but this is also representative of the in-game art. So if imagine like this big part up at the top where it says side quest, if instead of that, like that was like what you were seeing on a typical stream, like you'd people's faces or like other gameplay or whatever is going on in the background, then you'd have these little adventures marching across the bottom of the screen. So there's like Alex was saying, there's like a bunch of different, like you can level up, and there are all types of different characters, and you'll notice like some of them have like little pet owls or pet foxes, little companions you can get. There's a bunch of different like, I mean, it's supposed to be kind of like an adventure-y sort of. When I was making it, I was thinking of games like Dungeons and Dragons, where you're like a group of adventurers like going through like all these different locales, like mountains and villages and forests, and there's a pirate ship, or I guess it didn't have to be a pirate ship; it was a ship in general. But I don't know.
Pirate ships are more interesting. So.
It was always a pirate ship to me.
Yeah.
This is kind of an example of how how the the visuals would take up a narrow band at the bottom of the screen, and then this was actually a screenshot from me hosting a game dev stream wherein I was making side quests, and then also side quests was running on the bottom of the screen.
Haha. Side questception, as they say now.
I'll switch back to face cam. I just wanted to show a few of the visuals.
No, that's awesome. That's very cool. So the important question here is, you're saying that your biggest, most notable release, your biggest release is going to be this card game, Cool Story. What happened to SideQuest, and how do you feel about it?
So my original goal for SideQuest was, how many people are familiar with and I guess by how many people I mean Alex. Are you familiar with Ludum Dare's October Challenge?
Is that the one where you dev for a whole month?
You dev for a month, and the particular goal for this one is that by the end of the month, you have raised at least $1 with whatever project you started in this month.
Oh.
So it's a jam with a goal, and it was actually for the October challenge that I started SideQuest. Originally, this project was only supposed to take a month. Um, what happened? I didn't. My previous project didn't wrap at the end of September. It ran 3 weeks into October. So by the time I started it, I only had 1 week left.
Oh no.
I didn't. I made enough in that week. I actually had like the game fully up and running. It actually didn't have visuals, but the gameplay was completely intact. It was just performed entirely through chat actions. It was basically like more like interactive fiction at that point. And so I got enough done that like I wanted to quote unquote finish the project, but I from there accidentally fell into this rabbit hole of like, oh well, I could do this also, and I could do this as well. So anyone familiar with game dev is probably familiar.
Amazing! How does that happen? What? Wanting to do more on this project you're enjoying?
So, on one hand, this is a cautionary tale about feature creep. Don't let it happen to you. But on the other hand, as I kind of let myself fall into this, and I was very fortunate to be at a place in my schedule and the way I was set up that I could let myself do this. I kind of knew I was taking a strange diversion, and it was not like good advice. Like I would never tell someone like do this. Like this is what's going to be best for you as a game developer. But it was something that I wanted to explore personally. So SideQuest became this like odd like unconventional project that I was devoting a great amount of time to. In terms of how it fit with the original October challenge, my goal was to make something, make this game that could run specifically. My thought was during charity streams, like charity marathon streams, like what AGDQ and like a lot of other people do in terms of just trying to drum up interest from the community by presenting this like cool streaming content and like putting their efforts towards like fundraising for a particular cause. So that was what I was aiming for, like the $1 by the end of October mark, which actually it would have worked out really well because right at the end of October was Extra Life, and so I did not actually complete the October challenge as it was, but I hypothetically I could have. So I'm not currently working on SideQuest, and that's because I eventually got it to a place where I was happy with it, because once I was done like doing this like exorbitant feature creep, I had this idea of like like what we saw earlier with the visuals, like that was the point that I wanted to get it to. That it wasn't just interactive fiction at that point. No, I mean, sorry, I don't mean to say just interactive fiction. I don't mean to belittle interactive fiction, because if I was making a project that was supposed to be that, then that is entirely
understood.
Right. But like I got it to a point where it felt like what I wanted it to be, and so it's not like gone. I mean, the weird thing about it is that it only lives in streams. So the only time it ever really exists is when I'm streaming. And oddly, I don't do that as much anymore. So it's as though it doesn't exist right now. I don't know. It's kind of like one of those like haunted castles that only exist under a new moon. But
so because it's not really entirely in a spot that you want it to be, is kind of what's keeping you from like putting it out there to everybody, or do you feel like it's not something that
I never planned a wide release. It's something that I've thought about a lot. If hypothetically I let myself get distracted from my current project, one of the things I might work on is like I have a few ideas for how it would be like like the type how do I put this? It would be a lot less. So I spent like I think all told I spent about 10 months working on SideQuest, and it would not be another 10 months to get it to a point where it could be something for other people to use as well, something that other people could put in their own channels. It would be a lot of work though. That has a lot to do with the fact that it was always tailor made for like my computer. So it runs great on my computer. I don't think the tools that I used, essentially if I wanted to make a wider release, I would probably make it from scratch. I mean, I'd be remaking it from scratch. So I wouldn't have to go through all like that iterative, like explorative development process, because now I have this like laser vision of like what I'd want it to be.
Right.
It would be a lot of work though.
Yeah, I understand that. I think any game dev would totally be like, oh yeah, yep. You'd have to remake it.
I mean, like the fact that it exists now, wouldn't it be really nice if, I could just go into my game dev tools and like hit like, refactor for new platform, like, and then it would automatically, like, wouldn't that be cool if that's how game dev works?
Yeah, I like that. In fact, we should just be like, make a game about, and then fill in the blank line, and then be like, with cool feature, and fill in a new line, and request the type of art style you want, and hit go, and bam.
And then if it doesn't come out quite right, you just change a few of those words, hit go again, and keep trying it until you get the next game of the year.
Woohoo! Oh, we would be out of a job so fast if that actually happened. It could happen. Computers are getting smarter. And there was actually somebody who already has an AI that makes video games. So be prepared.
All right.
Oh yeah, it's Captain Robot. He's right there. He's like, in the year 2035, that's probably how game dev will look.
All right, so we don't have that long to go, right? We only have to hold out another like 19 years or so. That's doable. We'll be around then.
Yeah, and hopefully we can amass enough like, wealth or canned food to survive that period of potential unemployment that comes afterward.
I think with the robot revolution, I think it doesn't have to mean that humans stop working, right? That's my view of it personally, is that I think if that's how it is in 2035, that means that we'll have robot coworkers. At least I don't know if that's how it's going to play out, but I know that like, well, I guess if we look at, so let's look 19 years back, right? Like people had ideas about like what computers would be, like Clippy, right?
Oh gosh.
Like Clippy existed back 19 years ago. So if you think of like what Siri, like I guess Siri is kind of like the modern Clippy in some ways, in terms of like like consumer AI or like person-facing AI, like AI that functions at a level where it's like where it works with humanity, I guess. I don't know how, but like, so if you look at like how far it's come in that time, like that's really amazing. But then if you think like, that far ahead again, I don't think what we're going to have in 19 years is perfection. I don't think what we're going to have is like, a replacement for humans. Yeah. I think what we're going to have is like something very high functioning that needs a lot of human oversight.
Hopefully that would be ideal for us to oversight things.
Yeah, as long as they're cool with it, right? I mean, as long as 19 years from now, it's not the point where robots are then the ruling class amongst the world.
Well, but once robots get smarter than us, what are we gonna be to them? Be
pets,
like ants, pets. Yeah, like look at these cute little humans.
If it gets to the point where humans' job is just to like lie in the sun all day and then wait for our robots to get home to take care of us.
So this kind of conversation is something I have been having with Calvin regularly recently. Like we've been talking about all of this stuff. That's the kind of stuff he thinks about a lot, and so we have discussions about it, and it's really interesting because like, would being given 100% free time, like, would that actually negatively impact humans? Because suddenly there's no motivation. A lot of people tend to identify themselves with what they do for a living and like how much money they earn and stuff like that. So maybe there's a couple of people who are suited for like sunbathing 24/7, but like if you literally had nothing to do to survive, what would you do?
It's funny. I think I'm kind of on the same page with what you were saying. Just recently, what was it? The Powerball was up at like bajillions of
Oh
dollars,
yeah.
right? So it was like people were freaking out because it was like the sort of thing that whoever won that is going to be set for life.
Hmm.
And so everyone was like, "Did you get your ticket yet?" And well, for one thing, I was like, it wasn't super on my radar. It's not something I think about a lot. But even once reminded, like, oh, this is hypothetically something I could do because it has such a high like potential payout that even the fact that it's a very slim payout, like that could still be worth my time.
Mm.
It got me thinking about exactly that. It's like, okay, so then what? So I win.
Yeah.
And then I'm basically like a professional sunbather at that point. I mean, sure I could keep working, but with that amount of money, you have like kind of like you were saying, like you don't have any motivation. You don't have any you don't have any external factors that are persuading you to be like uh, engaged and like a fully occupied person. So I just passed on it. I was like, I know, I like that. Maybe that's a fine lifestyle. And maybe I could acclimate to it, and maybe I could adapt to it. But I think I prefer this one. I think I prefer the one that I have currently.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's a good answer. I think currently things are pretty good. Um, and as far as just like having things you kind of need to do in order to like, like reasons to wake up every morning and do do things. It's good.
One thing we'll have. I don't think it'll even take 19 years to get there. One of the projects that another developer in the same office is working on right now is a virtual reality project called Job Simulator.
Oh.
So there's that. I don't know how many people. There's like a demo that I guess like if you have the HTC Vive, uh, there's a playable demo. I don't know how many people have actually had the opportunity to play it, but it's this game is it's like it's a it is what it says. It simulates like in a very cartoonish and hilarious way a setting wherein a professional might operate. So like a kitchen or like an office. I think there are others planned as well, and it's I think yeah it's kind of funny. I think if I'm getting it correctly, the idea of the game is that it actually takes place in the future when humans. So it's like professional tourism.
It's like a museum basically. It's an interactive museum that robots put together with I think with like their history and loose robotic understanding of what these tasks would have been like for humans to do.
So we could always do stuff like that if we
And just pretend to work.
pretend to work in a fun and gamified way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like there are people currently that exist. In Japan, it's actually there's like they have an official title for them. It's the hikikomori, which
Yeah.
are people who don't leave home and don't work and just play video games all day. Usually, that's like the general, or they like have an obsession that they focus on. And maybe that's just where we'll all be at some point to some extent. Maybe not quite so shut in, but like just purely focusing on your own ways that you enjoy things, you know?
I guess the closest I've ever come to that is when I had like an active World of Warcraft subscription.
Uh-oh.
I like it's I never got to a point where I wouldn't leave the house. But in some ways I guess I can almost understand it because like there are digital experiences that like we've created, like we as humans have created that they offer not a full life or not anything near to that, but they offer like an engaging like world wherein there is so much to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I mean the magic of like this like digital entertainment is that you can make it like just more vibrant and richer and like this extremely intensified version of like of like a world and an experience, and like everything you do can just have like like particle effects everywhere, and like this, the state of the art visual stuff that it 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 renders an experience that you want, like you as someone who participates in it, like you want to keep participating in it, and something that I personally like. For me, it was massively multiplayer online games. I've been there are times that like I could go basically an entire day. So from like from like getting up to going to bed, like I was completely content to just do that all day.
I've been there as well. I actually, though, World of Warcraft didn't do it for me. I tried.
Yep.
I had a like a subscription for a couple of months, but I reached like level 30, and I just completely was like full faced, like realizing I'm just leveling up. And things are just getting that much harder, and they're just reskinning the content that I just went through almost, and it's like the level of satisfaction and progress just like got stripped away for me. It was like just too blatant in my brain. But I definitely, the game that actually got me into that kind of space where I would just play this all day, any day that I could, was Ragnarok Online.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm not quite sure why, like when I stop and I think about it, but I remember having a lot of fun doing things like making a new character and logging in and pretending that character was a cat. And like interacting with everybody as if my character was a cat. And it was fun.
That was like it was like a top-down view, like an isometric sort of.
Yeah, it was a little isometric. Yeah. It had a very kind of anime sort of art style.
Okay.
It was. I mean, I think it's still up and going actually, but I don't know. I played that years ago at this point, but it always pops out in my mind as the game that I actually was kind of addicted to. Like, that was it. That was my addiction.
There are a lot of really great like online games, and I almost like, whereas with most games I'll try as many as possible. Like I want to be constantly experiencing what other game devs are creating. That's like the one genre where I almost don't want to know what other online experiences are out there, because like in the back of my mind I'm like, what if I find one even more engrossing than like the ones that I found in the past? Like I don't want to lose another year. Do I want to invest that much more time?
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, totally. That's tricky. Because you do, like, there've definitely been a handful of games that have come out that I have said to myself, I don't have time to play this game because I'm going to enjoy it too much. What are some games like that for you? Can you think of any like games that you really couldn't let yourself play?
So the big ones are like with online games. Like when I sign up for them, I'll pre-cancel my subscription. So as soon as I've signed up, I'll cancel my subscription, because I don't want to accidentally like let my subscription run. So like even when I try games like this, and I'll what was there's a few years back. Oh no, it was more than a few years. But the Star Wars: The Old Republic, like I played that, and I gave myself like, okay, I can play it for this long, and then that's the end of my playtime. And so I didn't make it to the end game. I didn't get to experience all of the content, but I got to experience some of it, and then I got back to life, because this is when I was fully employed at full time at a studio, and so I couldn't do the thing that I'd done before with other MMOs about like letting it take such a great timeshare. And then I mean, just in terms of like generally in terms of how many games there are out there versus how much time I have to be playing games, like I'll never even like scratch the surface of like all there is out there. So
that's
yeah.
So true. And that's one of the things that's actually a challenge being a game developer, is there is that for everybody. Everybody has a limited amount of time, and there's just like shit tons of games coming out on Steam all the time, and there's just no way you can have time for all of it.
I think like working in game development, you're even more aware of how many games there are out there, because you're just so connected to the game dev community that you're like, every day I'm hearing about at least like 10 new games, right? And there's no way I could be playing 10 new games. So
Yeah, seriously, it's intense. It really is. Um, yeah. I'm trying to think about now. Now it's like, whoa, we've been doing this for like a little while and we've totally gone off on these beautiful tangents. I'm just like in my mind, like, how is this working? Is this a good show? Are you having fun, Ben?
Me personally, yeah,
Yes.
I'm having a good time.
Awesome. Awesome. That's definitely good. Yeah, I'm totally loving these conversations so far.
Yeah, it's funny. I just realized we were kind of at a point in the conversation where I don't remember how we got here. I don't
Yeah,
remember what like.
I love that.
but-
That's the best spot. Like, I can't remember. I've said this a couple times. I probably said it to you, but like, what just happened is kind of my favorite part of like the after interview that I've had every once in a while. It's like you have this interview and you're like, oh, these are all my game things, blah blah blah, game. And then at the end they're like, oh, hey, thanks so much. We thought this was really cool. And then you just start this conversation and you end up somewhere totally different and you're just having this cool stuff. It's awesome. It's like totally not necessarily game related, and that's what I wanted. So I was making sure that you are satisfied.
Yeah.
Like, do you feel like you've gotten to? This is like mid-show check-in, guys. He's our play tester, if you will. Like, do you feel like you've gotten to kind of show your game stuff off as much as you would like to?
Yeah, thank you very much for like giving me that opportunity. Like well, I used to stream a lot, so I used to have like my own audience, but I haven't been lately, so I
Are
kind
you
of miss it.
planning to again?
I'm hoping to.
All
Like,
right, you heard it, guys. Give him a follow. Follow Ben. His username is Ben J underdash red. He posted up top earlier if you were hanging out in chat. Oh, there he is. He's got the kappa going. So yeah, give him a follow because in the future he might be streaming more, and then you could actually see maybe side quests in action. Maybe.
yeah, if I'm streaming again, side quests will come back too.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, so we have successfully moved on from that portion of the show to just the random questions and other things. Do you want to see if anybody in chat has questions for you before we slip over? Do you want to ignore the internet? What do you think is more fun?
So far I have kind of been ignoring the internet because I was aware of chat, and so I did have like chat open on a window, but I've also not been reading it at all because I didn't want to get distracted. If we wanted to do that, I'd be totally into that. Yeah.
Hey chat, we're gonna pay attention to you now. That's the deal. We're gonna make up for having kind of gone into like interview mode with a nice fun round of question answers, comments, and riddles or whatever you want to do. Now it's the time. We'll pay attention. I don't know what's going on. It's good. It's fine. We got this.
One thing that this is just I'm guessing it'll take us like streams away for chat to actually start coming up with questions and stuff. One thing that's funny for me is that I on our Skype call, like I guess you guys can see me and I can't see anything. So I'm just like I'm sitting here and talking to a little webcam. I can hear everything, of course, but it's funny.
Do you want me to because I could turn on my webcam? Would that be better?
It's fine. I just I'm guessing just as well. I did also pull up the stream so I can kind of see on the stream. I'm constantly like my head is constantly turning to the side naturally, and that's because like I feel like that's where the stream is located. So I almost feel like I should be talking like in this direction. So.
Fair enough. Oh my goodness, Elephantasms has asked a beautiful question, and then we'll go up from there. I have actually just recently, just to give you a little information about why I'm so excited about this question, it was actually asked in a 1970s episode of The Dating Game. She says something like, if I were a tree, I would be a birch or something like that because I love whatever. And then she's like, if you were a tree, what kind of tree would you be? So Benjamin, good sir, what kind of tree would you be?
If I were a tree, I would be. Have you ever? I don't know if this probably doesn't happen everywhere, but if you've ever lived in like a city or an urban sort of area, you know how like there will just be like little spots where there are trees located, like in the middle of a city, for example.
Hmm.
I'm not necessarily actually even one of those trees, but like sometimes the way trees get there, like when they're doing construction, is they'll have like a tree, and instead of being planted into the ground, it'll just have this giant like orb of like dirt that has all been like packed up around the roots. And so they'll take the tree, and its root structure will be intact inside this giant like package of like dirt, and it'll just like be on a truck. And so there'll just be a tree like just driving through the city. And I think that's the kind of tree I would be.
You'd be a driving tree.
I'd be a tree on the go. I'd be a tree that's like out to, go places. And who knows exactly where this tree is going to end up. But
A vagabond tree.
yeah, it's healthy, it's growing, it's intact, and maybe it'll end up someplace great.
And you don't even care what like type of tree you are, just that you're moving.
So probably not birch, because I am allergic to birch.
Oh, you're allergic to birch.
Yeah.
See, you learned it here first, folks. Don't send Ben anything with birch in it.
Unless you want to see me like turn all like red and puffy.
How did you discover that you were allergic to birch?
I am allergic to, this isn't going to answer your question directly, but I'm allergic to birch. I'm allergic to horses. I think there are a few other ones too. The reason I found this out is when I was born, or like when I was younger, I was deathly allergic to bees.
Oh.
Specifically yellow jackets, actually, which are not
hornets or whatever they are. Yeah.
I found that out by getting stung.
Oh.
I didn't die.
Yeah, obviously. This is good. Congratulations.
So at a certain point, I started undergoing treatment to get desensitized. And so what happens there is for like, I think it started out like it was like once a week or like once every other week, I would go to the doctors and they would give me like 20 shots up and down my arm. Yeah, and that went for years. It slowed down in interval. So at a certain point it was like only once a month, and then it was only once every other month. But yeah, that went on for the longest time. And so the good news is that I probably won't die if I get stung by a bee or yellow jacket or whatever. And then like as a fun little bonus on like my last day, they're like, hey, let's just like for good old times, like just stick you with like a million different allergens and see which ones you react to. So I was like, okay, sure. And then yeah, so that's how I found out birch and horses.
Birch and horses.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Well, at least now you know.
Yeah, right.
You don't go approaching a horse unprotected. You've got like hazmat suit level stuff to ride a horse.
Yeah, it was funny to find out because growing up, my best friend's house had this giant birch tree like right in the middle of it, and I never made the connection that maybe that was why I would have allergies sometimes.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Oh, Robot has a question. If for some nonsense reason you had to give up game development and you had time and money to learn a new thing, what would you do?
It would be like fresh produce. It would be like I have thought about this.
Oh, interesting. Fresh produce how? What do you mean?
I would want to be like a lunch spot kind of. I'd want to be like so like people who are working at like an office or wherever, or like you have a lunch break and you kind of want something that you can get that's it'll fit within your lunch break, hopefully not like inordinately expensive, and is like delicious and tasty. I would want to set up like a spot that kind of like serves that like lunch crowd, but not like just lunch, but like that included, and is basically just like all like delicious fresh produce, and it's kind of like I don't know, it'd be like the sort of place where you could get like a smoothie or a salad, or like the idea is just like here's where all this fresh produce lives. Like you come in and like we'll put this produce together however you want, and like we'll make you something that's gonna like make you like feel better. It's gonna fill you up, and it's gonna be delicious. And yeah.
Why not? That's cool. Have you ever worked with food before? Like
No.
in your past jobs? No. Okay. Just so you know.
I worked at a coffee shop briefly. Yeah.
Oh,
I
really?
don't know if that counts.
Hey, no, it sort of does. But that's awesome. Does that tie into like your daily life and like the because I know out of everybody at the game assembly, you're probably the healthiest person there. To put it in a more generic sort of way, you're like the healthiest person there. Is that kind of partially that? Is it like you'd be wanting to follow more healthy lifestyle stuff?
One thing that happened a while back. I started learning more about like what like good healthy nutritious ingredients really does for a person.
Mm.
And like I won't go into like all the details. Like I if anyone's really interested in this topic, I strongly encourage you to like just Google like some of like I maybe like after the show I'll like put on my Twitter feed or something like some of my favorite links to like informative, like I mean they're just like really crazy statistics. Like if you get your diet right, like you're increasing your brain function, you're extending your life by like crazy amounts, you're like reducing your risk of cancer, like you're doing so many things for yourself. And like the really like so there's a lot you can learn about like how to improve your diet. And so I went through this phase where I was like trying to like, I mean, I wasn't even like intentionally like devoting myself to studying, but I just found it also interesting that like whenever I heard more of these things, I would like listen and like read up and like
Awesome.
find out. Yeah.
I,
And what's
Sorry,
it?
I know I'm interrupting you, but I have to say I took like a year and I got lost in that stuff too. Like I just got obsessed with it and figuring it out and trying to be like what is actually healthy to eat and like all that stuff and like so that's awesome. We need to sit down and have just a food conversation at some point, I think.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That would be really cool.
I personally like, I mean, humans are like weird mysteries. Like, to me
Mm.
personally, like, we're like how humans actually work, is, something that you end up finding a lot about when you study nutrition because it's all about like how, what we intake and what we, as food, like, synthesize into ourselves, like, what is most productive and like what food synthesizes into the healthiest humans. I don't know. It's fascinating subject matter.
Yes, I
So
agree.
as you're just studying all that stuff, I personally started eating really healthily. So after having done that, like I realized that like you don't need to know all the reasons that eating healthy like does good things for you because like the TLDR, like the grand summation is just that if you eat these certain things, things are going to work out for you.
Right,
Everything's
yeah.
great.
Or if you avoid certain things or too much of certain things and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's also interesting when you delve into that sort of world, how many different like beliefs there are around food and like it kind of turns into almost like religious debates between groups. Like there's like the people who are think that is fat free is the most important thing and the people who think like you shouldn't eat carbohydrates and there's the people who are like you should only eat fruits. Like there's literally all these different like sects of food believers. It's very interesting.
My affiliation at the height of my like intense dietary uh control, I was paleo,
Ah,
and I
yes.
and I was also vegan,
A
which is a really
vegan
it was a
paleo.
really yeah, it's weird. Like in the Venn diagram of like what you can eat when you're paleo and vegan, there's like only very few
It's like
things that are actually left.
walnuts and spinach.
Yeah. So yeah, for a year of my life, I was basically made out of walnuts and spinach.
Yep.
I don't want to talk about food literally forever, but one thing I will say is that if you take very healthy ingredients, like literally like the healthiest ingredients, like no indulgences, like no like no hints of fat, no like extra salt added. If you just take that really good stuff and you put it all together in the right way, it's so much better than any like greasy like fattening like craveable other stuff. Like it doesn't hit you with the same sort of like salty buttery like lust or like food
Mm.
lust or whatever, but it's so satisfying in a way that like I can't even like describe appropriate or like accurately, but
That's awesome, though.
that was what made me want to get into food because I realized that like I want to share this with other people. Like I want other people to realize how like wonderful good food can be if it's done correctly.
Mm. Yes, because when it's done wrong, it's a shame. Like, I mean, it can be just the smallest thing. Like, I don't want to talk about food forever either. But like, when I met Calvin, like, I don't know, what, 15 years ago or whatever, however long it was, he hated vegetables. He just flat out hated them. And I was so confused because I'm like, vegetables are delicious. Um, and it turned out that like for most of his childhood growing up, he'd only had frozen vegetables and stuff like that. And he'd never really had a lot of fresh vegetables. And he hates food in general, so that doesn't help his situation. But it was interesting. Like that was his experience with vegetables for the most part. And so yeah, having the good food can make a big difference. It's much more satisfying. So anyhow, there's got to be more questions. I know that where was it? Page of Swords was asking about an example round of Cool Story, but maybe we could do that at the end. Is there some way we could remotely play?
Yeah, oh, that's cool. Yeah, I have all the pieces
Because that
here.
could be fun.
So we could play like at like the physical cards will like be at my desk and then
Yeah, and because I mean, technically we could even have chat partake, couldn't we?
yes,
Like we
yeah,
could elect one or two lucky people to continue the story or something. I don't know how.
yeah.
We have a little time to think about it because I think we can wait a little bit before we do that. Let's just see if there's other questions. If you could live or work comfortably in any city in the world, which one would it be? That's what Sam Yellow Raccoon wants to know.
I want to know that too. Specifically, like like a few years back, I was thinking about like buying property down in like Cambridge because I do really like it down there when I was living down there. And in hindsight, I'm kind of glad that I haven't because like one of my goals is basically to answer that same question is like, is there another place in the world that like I'll be even happier that like have even like is even an even better like magically perfect fit for like what I do and what I like and so like I guess my hit list like the ones that I'd want to find out about first I guess actually I don't mean to sound like too much of a one note but they'd be like the other game dev centers, right? So like in the United States it's places like Seattle or like Austin or Irvine. Like there are a lot of places that just have these like really high concentration of like game development people and like I'm tempted to say that one of those would probably be like the perfect place because I really enjoy being like immersed in like game dev culture and just having like having access to like that mind share and that community and like being in a place where like really amazing game dev things are happening.
Yes, I totally 100% understand that. That's actually why we moved to near Boston. So because A, we couldn't afford Boston, and B, it was kind of a bit of a hub for game developers and people of like interest, which is always a nice thing to be able to do. So yeah.
And like that's what got me from the seacoast of New Hampshire. That's what brought me to Manchester because Manchester is much more like that than a lot of places. Like there's a game. It's not it's not as big as Boston yet, but it's a growing game dev scene. There are a lot of people. Yeah.
We're trying, all of us. But yeah, it's yeah. I'm glad actually when we first talked about the game assembly, you were talking about maybe moving to Florida.
Yes.
And I was like, no, you should stay here.
I don't know if there's any game dev happening in Florida. I mean, I assume there's like basically game dev happening anywhere, but like I don't know if there's really like a game dev scene down there. I haven't. One of my former coworkers moved down to like the Miami area, so there's got to be a little bit of it going on. But yeah, that was for life reasons. That was not necessarily a place that I would have chosen for myself, if not for other factors.
Yeah, cool. All right, so then there's a couple other interesting questions. Like
I don't mean to call you out, but you've been skipping these questions. You haven't answered very many of these yourself.
Oh, I felt like I was stealing the I don't know. It's your time. I'll answer them. Actually, we should make it so that people who ask the questions have to give the answers they themselves.
Fair is fair.
But I think that's the way to do it because that's like sharing is caring, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you make your guests take off their pants, you should make your viewers take off their pants
Yes,
too.
everybody should take their pants off.
Fair is fair.
Yeah. Well, as far as like if we could live anywhere around the world, I really don't know. I would love to live in a flying RV
Yeah.
that I can take anywhere. Basically, that would be ideal because I don't know that I want to be in one place all the time necessarily, or if there is a great one place to be all the time. But
That's a
it
good answer.
definitely, there's that whole game dev group thing is definitely something that I also interested in. Like we were thinking of moving to Seattle. Right, there's the other, a lot of game devs are over there. We can't go to Austin, that's out because Calvin is allergic to cowboy hats.
Yes, that's I mean that's a dire matter.
Yeah, it's serious. But it's for similar reasons. It's because it's a place where there's a lot of that camaraderie and group think and lots of the game dev energy and stuff.
So like a caravan, like a nomadic style caravan of like flying game dev RVs? Is
Yes, a caravan of that would be awesome.
that
If we could make that work, I bet we could get a film crew to follow us around and like make it a TV show.
that
That's one way to pay for game development, right?
that I mean that's kind of like what I was going for with like the tree on a truck metaphor. Is that like there's so much out there to experience. Like I hope we are all so lucky that we get the opportunity to be like a flying caravan of game devs, experiencing all the world has to offer it.
That would be awesome.
What was the I don't know if did you say what type of tree you were gonna be?
Oh gosh. I don't know. Your type of tree feels pretty awesome. The only tree, this isn't the tree that I would want to be, but the only tree that comes to mind is a weeping willow. And the reason for it is really weird and kind of fucked up if you think about it in the concept of me being the tree. Because the reason it comes to my mind is because I have childhood memories of this weeping willow tree and breaking branches of it off. These like really thin strips, right? And peeling the bark off of them because the bark came away in like these strips like super easily, like string cheese, and then you end up with these super smooth sticks. That's it. That's all I got. It's fucked up, right?
So whereas mine was very much a metaphor, I'm really hoping yours isn't as much of a metaphor.
I hope so too, because yikes. Anyhow, what well-known game developer would you like to battle in an arena type setting?
Unfortunately, I'm personally a pacifist, so I'm not going to be able to give a great answer to this question. But let's see. If I was gonna, I guess if I have to fight someone, I mean, I'm not so much of a pacifist that I wouldn't like defend myself if it came down to that. So, I mean, I guess it'd have to be like someone who's not physically intimidating. Or maybe I could also use it. I suppose I could use it as an opportunity to take someone out of like games, right? Because like if I win, then like we don't have to worry about that person in games anymore, right? So, oh gosh, I can think about that one, but I don't have an immediate answer to it.
Yeah, it's
If
I don't know. It's just violence. I don't know.
If anyone has suggestions, let me know. And heck, if I'm ever in that situation, maybe I can.
Yeah. The question is really, who do you want us to fight? we'll add them to our list.
Give us a list, and then we can do like yes, no, based on who we think we can take. And then...
Yeah. There you go. Sword says he'd battle you since you're a pacifist.
Bring it. Bring it, Page of Swords.
Oh, I don't know. Who would I want to battle? I know martial arts. So I'd want to pick somebody who also knows martial arts, but it's also as out of practice as I am, if not more. That would be ideal.
That'd make for an entertaining fight, too.
Oh, man. I'd really want it to be like the Thunderdome. That would be an important part of this battle. I don't know. Is that too much? Thunderdome. The DEVSOLUTELY. No, that doesn't work.
There are a lot of developers that I don't want to fight because there are a lot of developers that I think are cool and I like that they're developers and I want them to keep being developers. Most of them, I'd say. Developers are great. Why would you want to fight a developer? There are plenty of people in this world that you can fight.
There are plenty of people you could fight. Somebody just asked who it was that I was talking to, and I realized I should probably put up like a little bloop of text that is like, here's the person! This is the person. If there was some way that you would want people to follow you, like a link type thing, like your Twitter name, is that would maybe the thing to do? Because then I can put guest Benjamin Red at, and then is it Ben J Red, just like your
same name both places.
Under dash red. Damn.
Yeah, I'm not the most active of Twitter people, but that is where I post most of the things that are going on in my world.
That's fine. I'm absolutely horrible with it too. I end up feeling like I can't put personal things up almost, and so I kind of only do business things, and I'm like, oh, but just tweeting about when we're doing a stream or, that's boring. But like, do people care that I cut my hair? Is that I'm not gonna.
People care.
I don't know. It just feels weird.
When you're getting haircuts as good as your haircut, people can care about that stuff.
This is all the bathroom with me and occasionally crying for Calvin to help me with the back of my head.
That's amazing. I mean, I haven't seen it in person yet, but like from what I can tell, that's awesome.
It's pretty much a mohawk. It's pretty simple to shave the sides of your head off for the most part. I don't know.
I mean, it's a risky proposition because like one slip of that stuff and bad news, but it looks like you did. It looks like you did very well. You had masterful control.
Well, I mean, hopefully, I don't know. If you looked at it up close, it might be worse. I don't know. I have to trust that Calvin managed to do an okay job with the back of my head.
I'm sure it looks fantastic. And this is the perfect situation for a selfie. So I strongly encourage you to partake.
I don't know that I have. Oh, I have been in a selfie. I thought maybe I had successfully actually avoided. But I've been in two, so now it's over. I can't have said that I dodged it because it didn't.
Well, I'd say this haircut is worth a third one. I think
all right.
Your grand return to the.
Perhaps. Oh, I'll do like with ducky lips and everything. Like. That's the thing, right? That's how you're supposed to do it. I know these things.
I was reading an interesting thing about selfies, which I like. So it's really easy to get disenfranchised with them, considering how many there are and how they're not all great art. But I thought it was interesting that like they represent like this is the thing that I was reading. Like it was about how selfies represent an art form wherein you're both the subject and the artist, which is not common. Like so like self-portraiture is not new, but it's like on this scale, it's like.
It's definitely a whole new situation as far as that like photographs goes. Like it used to be, like even just like 10 years ago, 7 years ago even, if you went somewhere and you took pictures, you were taking pictures of the things, not of yourself in front of the things.
Yeah, you
It's,
use the back-facing camera, not the
yeah.
forward.
Do you? Oh man, I don't know if you ever experienced this. The only reason I know that they existed is because my little brother got one as a gift once. It was this Pokemon camera that used. I don't know if it was digital or film. Like it was, I don't know. It's like some cheapy thing, but it imposed along the side of it, gave this like Pokemon border to all the pictures. How cool would it be to just make a selfie camera that just puts you in each of your pictures without you even needing to be there? I think that is a gold mine. I think somebody needs to make this. It saves you all the trouble of trying to like make sure you're in the frame and everything. You just take a selfie and it just cuts you out and puts you in all the other pictures you ever take.
I have a really convenient picture of myself that's like on a green. When I was streaming, I used to use a green screen backdrop, and so I have like the perfect like, it's the perfect like chroma key picture, right? So that you could just like cut out the background. Yeah, I could work with that. I could go on with something. And that is tempting. A friend of mine who's an animator, she did this fun project recently where she took I don't even know like what exactly was her photography setup, but the gist of it was basically she took the characters that she had drawn and she must have like drawn them onto or printed them onto like some sort of cardstock and then cut them out very carefully around the edges. So essentially like, I don't know if she like glued them to popsicle sticks or what, but essentially she had these like little these small like cutout versions of the characters. She went on vacation and she took this whole series of photographs where she holds the character in front of the camera at such a distance that it looks like they're in the scene. And it was really cool. So like for like 2 weeks, her Twitter feed was just all these photos like of her characters on vacation, which was
that's awesome.
I thought it was really creative, and she did a really good job of it too.
Oh, that's really cool. I had a almost similar idea, though not with like cutouts being imposed in a realistic sort of spatial way. But when we were trying to figure out how to crowdfund the Game Kid project, I had this idea for Game Kid adventures, where I'd like I printed out Game Kid and I'd like give it little adventures outside and like take pictures of him like climbing trees and ordering cappuccinos or whatever, you know. But
I like that. I don't know. I think that it's a fun way to play with perspective, like, and scale when you take something that really doesn't exist in the real world and you find a way to impose it there. It just when it's done right, it captures like a sense of whimsy that that's really charming.
That's awesome. Have you seen those? This one guy does these like stop animations where he's filming, but he's drawn with like whiteout and Sharpie on these clear plastic pieces, like a full animation. So like you'll see this like video of something and there'll be something kind of superimposed into the scene that is like
I do know what you're talking about. Yeah, it took me a second, but I don't know the name of that artist, but I remember seeing that at one point.
yeah.
Oh man, what?
I can't remember what his name was.
I would not know anything to like punch into Google to even like find something like that.
I bet someone in chat knows exactly what we're talking about. Somebody save us! We don't know what we're talking about, but you do. I hope. Yeah, no, it's such a cool concept though, because it's, you know, here's this 2D kind of not real thing that you're sending out with all of the information of this 3D real world. So it's kind of fun. Yeah. Were there any other questions? I think that was it. The last one was about fighting people, and then we just started having our own interesting conversation.
I guess I still technically haven't answered that one yet. Oh, no. I thought I had an answer, but I feel like I have I feel like I'd be picking on. Well, I guess I mean yeah. If I challenge someone to a fight, I'm literally picking on them. So and I guess that's I don't know. That's part of why I'm having difficulty coming up with an answer to it.
It would be
I don't.
like if it was a food fight or something like that, where
Okay.
there's not like a serious thing, but it's like a competition. It's like competitive food fight. Who would you pick? Maybe that's a little bit of an easier scope.
Um. I Does it have to be like some? I think the question was like it has to be like someone high profile, right? I can't like go
Like yeah, it
with
can't be
some
like
like.
some unfamiliar dev to most people. I think
Yeah.
a food fight with Gabe Newell. That would be my pick.
Ooh.
Because he's a bigger target than me. Plus, I'd get to be in the same room as Gabe Newell, and that's kind of cool too.
I
So
feel like if I tried to food fight Gabe Newell, I'd keep getting distracted. I'd keep forgetting that I'm supposed to be food fighting because I'd keep wanting to like I don't know, just like pick his brain about like everything other than food fighting.
yeah, I don't know. I think I get very competitive. So I think I might just like really try to win and then regret it afterwards when he's like crying in a corner covered in like pie goop and peas, you know? I don't know. Sorry, that's just me. I can't help it.
if you defeat Gabe Newell in a food fight, do you become the new king of Steam?
Ooh, I could live with that.
Is that how
Actually,
the
that'd
title
be.
transfers?
I would not want to be the boss of Steam.
It's a lot of responsibility. Oh, are you? I don't have audio right now.
Oh no, wait, are you sure?
Oh, maybe I do. Okay.
What is happening? I got quiet, maybe.
Okay,
Did I
okay.
get quiet? Sorry.
I
I was
wasn't sure.
checking chat.
I wasn't sure if audio had cut out because yeah, it was like stone silence. Sorry.
I'm good at being quiet, I guess. That's good to know. Do you like any kind of bread? Do you have a
Uh,
favorite bread?
I would go with a marbled rye.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of pumpernickel. Um, I just yeah, I guess like I like bread that has like a flavor to it. Like
Mm.
I mean, you know, like the standard breads, you know, the most common varieties, like those are great for making sandwiches and stuff. But like if I was gonna have like a toast or something,
Mm.
I want it to have something. Oh, like that bread that has like the cinnamon raisin swirls in it.
Ooh.
Controversial, I'm sure for some people, because when you put raisins in anything, it's gonna get controversial.
Yeah,
But
this is true.
for me personally, slather that in butter. I would
Mm.
go for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yum. I think I lucked out as a kid. My mom cooks and bakes, like not as like super crazy like Betty Crocker level anything, but like she had some kinds of bread that she'd make because it was cheaper and it just oh my god, fresh bread. And there was this bread that she makes that is the best bread in the universe, and it is an herb and onion bread, and it's got like little bits of onion in it, and it's like oh, it's so good. And when you take it out of the oven, you slice a piece of it off, and it's so warm that it still melts the butter fresh. It's just like there is no other bread. Like if given the choice of bread, it's like I want like 2 loaves of that, and I will eat it all because oh, it's so good.
I go for some of that right now.
Mm. Yeah. I should make some. I should get the recipe from my mom. I'll bake bread someday and bring it into the office. That'd be fun.
Yeah, recipes like that, you got to preserve them, man. Pass it
Hmm.
down from family to generation to generation.
Yeah, it's important. Well, we have been doing this show for like an hour and a half. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, that went by really fast. Do you want to keep the energy going? Do you want to play a round or two of Cool Story and end it with that? Or
Yeah,
do you want to I mean like technically we could just hang out until like midnight. I'm not doing anything.
I have no particular agenda. Okay, if we are gonna play Cool Story, I think I need to rearrange my desktop real quick.
Oh yeah, because you can switch your camera down to look at the
Yeah.
world. Is that what you're thinking?
Oh, actually, it's actually gonna work out really well that I am wearing pants because if I point the camera downwards, yeah. Okay. Uh, let me see here. I'm just moving a few things around on my desktop, and so first I'm just gonna try angling the camera downwards, and that might work. If it doesn't, then I also have like a crossbar that I can set up on my desk, and hopefully
Looks like it'll work.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty good, right? We have a kangaroo belt buckle making an appearance on the show.
Ah, that's the coolest belt buckle.
Uh,
You found that at like a flea market type thing, right? Or
it
something?
would. It has this kangaroo. I'm not sure of its origin story because I got it from a friend, and my friend got it from eBay, but who knows where eBay got it from?
Oh,
In terms of like where it came from.
it came from the universe.
But I eventually found it, so this story has a happy ending. um, so this is the materials that I have here for Cool Story right now. They're like, well, as earlier in the show we were looking at like some of the like the production quality art. This is like the last like paper prototype before the production quality art. So it's literally what I did is I took so for these are index cards, and I just drew on both sides, or I drew on two different index cards and I just taped them together.
I remember the first prototype of it that I saw, you had like clothespins as the
Yeah.
people.
Oh yeah. Okay, so this was an earlier
Oh
prototype.
yeah, yeah, those.
So originally in the game, like these were the characters. So like this was like one of the characters, and this is one of the other characters, and they had these little like star clips or these star chips too. And so like the way you indicated that like the pink character had like was like in love with the, I don't know if you can see, it's like a little heart symbol on the piece. Uh, so like the pink character is in love with the yellow character. One thing I found in playtesting is that like some people totally got it. Like some people was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Some people, it took them a minute, and then they could get it. Like they could, once they learned how it worked, they would pick up on it.
Mhm.
But there were literally some playtesters who, no matter how many times they look, and like, well, so okay, so this is very simple, right? But like, so when they're like, imagine that there are like more characters in the game, like there are some people who've tested the game that like, no matter how many times they like thought about like how it was supposed to work and like how it was all set up and everything, like it just wouldn't make sense to them. Like they would look at this and like it never like clicked with them. So yeah, at a certain point, well, there were a few reasons that I decided I wanted to redesign the materials, but one of them was that challenge there, and so once I did redesign the materials to this incarnation, the way it's indicated instead is so for example, if the orange character was like in love with the green character, for example, it would be indicated as such. We have these little clips. And then on the reverse side is like the negative feelings, positive feelings, and it has play tested a lot better. So it's still the sort of thing where like, you have to understand how it works before it'll make sense in the context of the game. But yeah, this has gone a lot better in playtesting. People have been able to pick up the concept better.
In the final version, what are you using instead of those binder clips?
Oh, these things?
Yeah.
I actually don't know.
Oh.
One thing that they make are they're kind of like these plastic paper clip sort of things. They're not actually paper clips, but like they use the same principle as paper clip in that they're like a single like molded like sheet of plastic, but then they have like the cutout, and so you can kind of like use it to clip onto like the side of like a card or like a piece of paper or something like that. Yeah.
All of the design troubles that happen when you're making a physical product that just keeps popping into my mind because I'm not doing it. I never have had that experience, and you're delving into this world. It's your first time doing a physical thing too, so I'm just curious sometimes how you solve things.
It's there is a lot to learn. It was only in the past month or so that I actually designed a version of the material components that are readily how to say it, like an entire version of the game could be made using entirely standard like game pieces. Like it wouldn't require any custom fabrication. And that was, yeah, I mean, so for a lot of games, like, they'll contain pieces that are very, very specific to the game itself. Like they're very like, whether they're like detailed figurines or like, very like unique like spinner like components. So, games do that, right? There's an advantage as like for me starting out, it's like if I took this game to a publisher, it's a much easier sell that the game can be manufactured using entirely standard game pieces. So even if this isn't literally how it finally works out, like maybe I will actually pursue like special like custom pieces, like if I find like a publisher who's interested in the project. Just knowing that I'm not constrained by those by that aspect of the production process for me it felt very freeing. Like that was like I said, that happened relatively recently, and I got like a very invigorated, like it was like a second wind I felt about the project, because it's I mean there's the day that I realized like, yes, this project could very easily get made. That was exciting.
That was a good thing, yes. Awesome. Okay, so break down the rules a little bit and let's figure out how can we get chat involved on some level. Do we want to have them take care of one character or something like that?
Definitely. Like we could have it. So the game itself right now, it supports anywhere from 2 to 5 players. But the nice thing about it, or one thing that I've done very intentionally in making it is, and like, you don't actually have to be playing the game in order to participate. It's a collaborative storytelling game. So even if you're not like holding cards and like even if you're not literally one of the 2 to 5 players, it's actually the whole game experience is in fact improved if like there are other people like helping to craft the narrative and like fill in the blanks, and so we can like everyone in chat who's interested could get involved.
Awesome. Yes, let's do this. Are you prepared, chat? We're gonna story your minds apart.
So the way the game works, generally, these are like the characters. The characters in the game they'll either be at the same location. We're going to be telling a story with these characters. Not all of them at first, but we'll add and remove characters as we go. The characters at any given point, they'll be either together at the same location or they'll be apart at separate locations, and they'll have motivations. They always have motivations like towards another character in the game. So like the green character has positive feelings towards the pink character. The this is just an example. Like the orange character might have negative feelings towards the green character, and
they're in the same space.
Yeah,
they're gonna fight. Sorry.
When you're telling the story, or when you're playing Cool Story and telling the story, you can do basically anything. You can like move the characters around however you want, and you can have them change their motivations however you want. Although everyone in the game gets 2 of these plot cards, and on the plot cards are depicted certain conditions that hypothetically you like these. So these are essentially like your goals in the game. So if you can make the conditions on the card come true, you like score this card, you lock it in, and that like contributes to your points for like the end of the game. So this one in particular, this indicates that there are the arrows represent motivation. So this one depicts that 2 characters have motivation towards each other, and at least one of those characters has negative motivations, indicated by the X. So that would be true, for example, if the green character had motivations towards the orange character has motivations towards the green character, and the orange has negative motivations. So like, so like if the game had been like this, I could take an action to change the green character's motivations, So I could say, like, for example, like we haven't set up who these characters are yet, but so if this was Horatio, so let's say, the orange character like strolls up and like just like is like, Horatio, I challenge you to a food fight for control of Steam. And Horatio, the current controller of Steam, having defeated Gabe Newell in a food fight previously, does not like that one bit. So perhaps Horatio has negative feelings towards this orange dude, named because he happens to be carrying a bushel of oranges at the time. So that, yeah, that's that's one example of a change of motivation, which would lead to the conditions that are on this card. So if I was the player with this card, then I would now be able to score that. So yeah, so instead of using examples, I guess we could probably just start actually like setting up a game. I'm just gonna spill out some of these other game components, make a mess. Actually, we probably don't even need all of these. Just get the important ones.
So, just because I have actually played this before, so I know a little bit more. I'm gonna fill in a couple of things for people.
Oh yeah.
Because there are 2 characters that have crowns on them.
Yes.
And those are important because they actually are kind of like the main characters, and some of the plot cards will require that they are involved in some way, shape, or form in the story that you're trying to connect. Yes, yeah. Like that card. Like that card right there.
This one says that one of the characters has motivations towards one of the lead characters, and the other condition depicted on the card is, you can see there's this line at the bottom. It's broken, indicating that the characters are in different locations. If the line had been solid along the bottom, that would indicate that they're in the same location.
There's also one where they're in a box, and that means they're alone together. Oh.
So I don't know how well it's going to show up, but this is like kind of a cheat sheet for. Sorry, my hand is a little wobbly, but these are like the main conditions.
Yep. No, it's awesome. It's actually great that you have that little cheat card. I think that's a really smart move, design-wise. Like, are you planning on including something like that in the final thing, right? Like,
yeah, I'm even going to make it bigger. I'm going to like right now, it's on the top half there, it explains the actions, on the bottom half it explains the conditions, but it's probably going to be like, I'll take the whole front face and explain all the conditions. I'll even go into a little more detail, and then on the other side I'll have the actions, but just to show the actions as well, I guess. I don't know if that's actually legible, but anyways. Yeah, so like Alex was saying, there are a few factors to consider. But yeah, it's like whether or not a character is the lead character, whether they're together at the same location or a separate location, and their motivations. Those are essentially like what you might be looking for on the cards. I guess.
So you're gonna have to show the cards that are mine to the camera, and you're gonna have to not look.
That's a good point.
That's tricky.
Let's do a quick test on how we might accomplish that, because I have an idea. I know I'll be able to get them on camera, but we have, as long as we can get it to a place that they're legible for you, so that you can actually like see what they are.
I keep trying to come up with like the elevator pitch for this game, like summarizing it in just a tiny little bit.
I know, right?
And in my brain, the closest thing I can come to, it's sort of like it's storytelling with ulterior motives. Right?
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Like, this is cool story for those of you just joining us. Benjamin, whose lovely hands you can see, and you can also confirm that he is indeed wearing pants. Benjamin has made this game, and he's being our test subject for this attempt at the DEVSOLUTELY show, which is something I'd love to do weekly. And somebody in chat asked if we could play a couple rounds of this game that he mentioned that he's working on. So here he is, and we're about to give this a shot. You're gonna use the keyboard to prop up the cards. I like this.
Yeah, I don't know.
My virtual hands are a keyboard. That makes sense. I can live with that.
Can you read what's on those cards? Like, can you?
Oh, it's crystal clear. It's perfect.
Awesome.
I can totally see it.
Oh, you can play.
Awesome. What about chat? Should we give them some motivation cards too, or just let them throw out ideas, kind of like a constant brainstorming session?
Do you and chat want to be on one team?
All right, chat can be on my team. I don't mind that at all.
And that's not to say like that chat can't like participate like in other contexts, like feel free to just like shout out whenever. I really want this game to be like the fun sort of thing that you could play in a casual setting, so that way, you know, people can have fun with it. Like it's not like chess where, you know, you want to be like, oh, hush, 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 let people think. It's more like, you know, have fun and like just shout whatever comes to mind.
Yeah, even if you don't know what's in their hand, you could still totally. Yeah, no, I could see this being a lot of fun to be an observer with, actually. So it's kind of cool. All right, I'm ready.
So, which character would you like for the starting?
When there's only 2 players, do you both have to be kings?
There are a few different rules. There has to be at least one. Well, I mean, you don't even have to choose one. There's a special rule that never came up the last time we played. The special rule is that at any point, if there are no lead characters or if there are fewer than 2 characters, you can basically just add a character for free. So if that comes up, we might have to do that at some point. But here, I'll shuffle the deck. Finish shuffling the deck, and then so I will, without looking, I will put 2 cards here.
Ooh.
And then, oh yeah, do you want to choose one of the?
I will be the green
character. All right, I will choose the orange character.
All right. So the first step is we have to place these characters in a world and give them a name and kind of a tiny bit of backstory. Is that the sort of like this is where they are and what they're doing kind of thing?
Yeah, you can make up just a random character if you want, or you can use a character from like a fiction or you could use a real person if you wanted to. Like I think was it you who used Gabe Newell the last time we played?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. All right. Do you want to go first? Or...
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
So I actually am going to keep the character I made earlier. This is Orange Guy. Orange Guy, no one really knows what Orange Guy's real name is, but he always carries around a bushel of oranges, and he's kind of an intimidating dude, so people call him Orange Guy.
Hello, Orange Guy. That works. And is it just who they are, and then we pick locations?
Oh yeah. I'll you can do it either way. Orange Guy's location will be a street corner.
A street corner.
Standing on a street corner, swinging his bushel of oranges in an intimidating manner.
Well, the green dude, his name is actually Jimmy Jim.
Jimmy Jim Jim.
Yep, that's Jimmy Jim Jim. And he is currently at a Renaissance fair acting as the king.
All right.
Yeah. So the crown works. I worked that into the story. Yeah.
I haven't drawn my motivation cards yet, but that's fine. And then next we'll set up the motivations. Yes. Orange dude is just, not a nice guy. Some bad must have happened in Orange dude's past, because he knows Jimmy Jim Jim, and he's feeling salty. That's what's happening. Yeah.
Well, the truth is though, Jimmy Jim Jim loves oranges, and so anytime he sees anybody who does oranges with things, Jimmy Jim Jim just loves them. So so he's a fan of oranges, an orange dude. He follows his Twitter.
I just remember each player starts with 2 of these little pip things. I'm just gonna put your pips over here.
That works. And those let us spend a pip, and you can add in a new character or remove a character, I believe.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. One thing, we haven't played a 2-player game, so just to let you know, there are a few special rules in a 2-player game. There's no workshops because there are only 2 players. So instead, you can, on your turn, you can forego your action. You essentially just don't take an action on your turn. You can still tell part of the story. It just doesn't. You just can't change. You just can't change locations or motivations, and you can get a pip for that.
Interesting.
And then there's another rule that's different. There's a special rule.
Oh, special.
Yes.
I'm ready.
If if I take the same action that you took on your turn, then on your next turn, you get an extra free action at the start of your turn. So,
Oh,
for
so
example,
I think I get it. But yes, go ahead. Sorry. Give your example.
so for example, if you took a change of motivation action, and then if I on my turn took a change of motivation action, then that on your subsequent turn, you would get the very first thing right at the start of your turn, you could just take an action for free, and then you could go on with the rest of your turn as normal.
Interesting. Okay, I might forget that.
Okay.
But so if I'm doing something really dumb at some point, be like, you know.
It's a friendly game. So.
Yes. Okay. I'm so ready for this. Oh, also these little pips, these little black dots that you see, 3 of those are worth 1 point. And every time we successfully can use our motivation card, like the 2 cards in the keyboard, every time we've successfully used one, those stay in our hand, or like in our pile, as a point. So at the end of the game, there's actually a kind of a winner, and they get to end the story. They like get to decide how the story ends.
I was so used to, like, for the first hour and a half of the show, I had the camera, and so I was able to, like, nod.
Oh no!
And I've been, like, nodding emphatically still, but I don't have a okay. Anyway.
Pull up a chair. No, your arms will be all weird, wouldn't they? Like, how would you? I can see your teeth. It's so much better.
If we do this again sometime, I'll come up. I'll get a second camera. But we are now set up to start the game. So I'll take the first turn, I guess.
Sure.
This is so the first thing. Oh yeah. So on your turn, you get to do 2 things every turn. You can play or claim a card, or discard a card, and then so it's a 2-player game, so workshops aren't actually in it. So then the second thing that you can do is to take an action,
or forgo an action,
or yes, to gain one of those pips, which are used for other things. So one of the characters in fact, both of the characters, this is actually true in either direction, but one of the characters has motivations towards a character who is alone at a given location.
Oh, yes. That does indeed work.
I'm scoring that card, and then taking my action for the turn, I will take a location action. I will say that orange guy finds the street corner to be very dull. There's not a lot going on here, so he takes a stroll, and he finds his way to the Renaissance Fair.
No. Oh, no. Oh, darn. Fine. Whatever. I would like to put in a pip and add a character.
Good choice. So we have like the dark blue indigo. We have the pinker.
I'll take the pinkle purple. The pinkle. That's. I got this. Words are good. And
so
she's going to have positive emotions about orange.
People like this orange guy who's a complete jerk, but and you also get to choose your location.
She's going to be at the corner where Orange Man just was.
Oh, she rolls up to find no one there.
She's a little girl. Her name is Debbie.
Debbie. It's a dangerous street corner. She should.
Yeah, she shouldn't be all alone. And
did you want to discard either of your cards?
No, I want to keep them. They're fine cards. You just ruined everything for me. That's all.
That's my goal. Okay, so on my turn, I'm going to score this card because 2 characters are in the same location. This is why I foiled your plan.
Yeah, I know.
2 characters are alone together, and one of them is a lead character, which this card has a little star symbol in the corner, which means I get an extra pip when I score it. And then I will say, so I'm going to forego my action, but I will still say that Debbie gets to the street corner and is chagrined because the ice cream truck is usually there, and it's not there for some reason.
Oh, that's so
Uh,
sad. Have you looked at chat? We've got some lovely little stories happening
Oh, cool. Okay,
based off of our stuff.
I'll keep an eye on that too.
Yeah. So yeah, everybody, we're totally reading this stuff. This is beautiful. Aw, she really likes oranges. But where did Orange Guy go? Orange Guy was always nicer to Debbie than he was to other people. Debbie reminded him of his daughter so long ago.
Okay, so yeah, Debbie wasn't at risk. She yeah, this is her street corner too.
All right, so I can actually score a card this time. I would like to score the card that is furthest from the numpad.
So this one.
Yes.
All right.
Because Debbie is alone.
Hey, there you go. Oh, and you get
So,
your
yeah,
little pip.
I get my pip back for that. And I think that Jimmy Jim Jim meeting Orange Man is just disappointed at the reality. He's just such a grumpy orange fellow, and so he's gonna kind of not feel so hot about Orange anymore. He's just gonna kind of, I don't know. He's just like when you idolize someone or you're like looking forward to meeting them and they're just not what you're expecting. Yeah, that's how he's feeling right now.
Oh man, that's why you just gotta never meet your idols. Okay, so that was a motivation.
Can you draw me a new card?
Oh yeah, good call.
This is an interesting way to play.
It's kind of like the digital version. You're just
There's an app, guys. No,
it's all voice control.
I wonder how hard it would be to make an app version of this game.
It's on my to-do list.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh cool.
I don't know if it'll be my next project, but I've thought about how I want to go about doing it. One of the tough things is that this game it's very much about, like, I think part of the quote unquote magic of it or whatever. It's like about being there in person and being around a table with your friends. So for the digital version, I want to make it. I'll probably make it so that you can play it remotely. You could play it you could play online with a friend. But I want to make for tablets. I want to make a version that you only need one device and you can sit around a table and you can still get that experience of storytelling with your friends.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because that's fun stuff. Totally.
Yeah. It's my favorite part of the game. So.
Oh, Drek Fletch is asking if this is a completed game or a demo, and I just realized, do you have any idea when the game is going to be available?
I haven't started talking to publishers yet, which I know I should. I think I probably should have started talking to publishers a long time ago, because so this is my first project, and so anyone who's familiar with imposter syndrome, sometimes it's hard to take yourself seriously, or I've always been confident in this project, but one thing I haven't been confident in necessarily is my ability to pitch this project to a veteran publisher, and try and convince them that I am someone who has never made a game like this before but totally can. I'm gonna nail it out of the park. So I've gotten really far into production. The game is almost essentially done. Then I guess the advantage there that I'll have is that now when I go to publishers, I won't have to sell them on the vision. I can literally give them the vision. So that's actually the biggest step. And so one of the awkward things about that is because unlike with digital products where you can just throw it on the store and everyone can download that, when you're working on a physical product, you have to get it in the manufacturing schedule. And so, the biggest question about when is Cool Story going to launch is when can it find a spot on a production schedule somewhere?
When will they let me?
Yeah. Pretty much. Oh, it's my turn in the game, I think, because you just took. Okay.
Yes.
I'm also happy to answer questions as we're playing. So yeah, if there are others, I'll also on my turn I will score this card because 2 characters have negative motivations. Thank you very much. Um, and then I'm going to forgo my action again this turn. I'm going to say that there's that Jimmy Jim Jim and Orange Guy confront each other and just stare into each other's souls.
Oh.
And then I will draw a card for my turn.
Oh, I didn't set myself up very well. Oops. Oops.
I mean, it's tough. You only have like partial information because like last turn you couldn't even see this card, right?
Yeah, that's true. I still could have done a better job.
You played this game what, like twice before?
Right.
You're playing against the person who made this game.
Oh, my strategy though. So, oh man, Debbie. I like what Page of Swords has said a little bit. So Debbie is actually Jimmy Jim's daughter. And so she's sitting on the corner and she's missing her daddy a little bit. So she's gonna, her thoughts are gonna turn to him.
Okay.
So she's gonna, her love is gonna switch from the orange man who wasn't there for her in her moment of ice cream craving, orange wanting moods.
Tough day for Debbie.
She's kind of hoping her papa will notice she's missing and come get her. Or something. Did you read what Page of Swords wrote in the chat? It's very long and dramatic.
But never made
sense. So I'm going to... Yeah, that's my turn. So my turn is done.
Okay. So, yes, thank you. You're really good at setting me up for my card. So Debbie has motivations towards a character in another location. Actually, I guess that would have been true either way, but still true. I will take an action. No, I will not. I will forgo my action for the turn, and I will say so. Debbie thinking of her father, the Renaissance king. She realized that sometimes some things in life are more important than ice cream.
So even when you like wave your action, you still kind of add a little bit to the story, a little bit of something.
Yeah, you don't have to. I just like, because storytelling is one of the fun parts of it. So even if you're taking a strategic play, I didn't want to like make it so that you had to give up something that you enjoy, if that's you. But it is also optional. So for people who'd rather just like get on with the game, like yeah.
So we've got somebody asking in chat who just came in a tiny bit ago, wondering what the rules are, kind of, and what we're doing. I really actually like how I thought of it. This is collective storytelling with ulterior motives. These two cards with symbols that you see in the keyboard are my ulterior motives. I'm trying to get these character cards on the table here in positions and in situations where I can profit off of them, sort of, by being able to use my cards.
And I, as the other player, I have my own two cards, and they have completely different conditions and different goals. Or maybe...
Yeah, and the story is persistent. It's not two different stories. We're telling the story together. So anytime I add or take out a character, it affects his everything as well. It's my turn now?
Yes, yeah.
All right. Well, Debbie is thinking of her father, who has a crown on his head. So I'm going to cash in. Oh, it doesn't really matter, I guess. The one furthest from the numpad again.
This one?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. There you go.
She's thinking of him. And for my action, oh my gosh, I'm gonna lose. That's okay though. This is fun. It'll be dramatic.
In a two-player game, it actually, everyone gets more turns. So there tends to be a disparity between players. Like sometimes, like in this game, I got out to a faster start, but the game also you get more turns. So, you're not out of it yet.
Okay, good. My action is actually going to be that Orange Man sees Jimmy Jim Jim being concerned that his daughter seems to have disappeared. And just feeling sympathetic towards him. He's not feeling so upset at his stupid renaissanciness and is seeing him as more of a father. And it turns out that he's the father of one of his regular customers.
His heart, his icy orange heart
is melting.
melted.
Yeah. Seeing him not for the Renaissance king that he is, but for the father that he also is, or something.
It's melting like an orange creamsicle.
Oh, such visuals.
Okay, so that was your turn. You get another card. And then on my turn, okay, I can still score this one. 2 characters are alone at the same location.
Aha, yes.
And then I will say that, okay, I'm going to spend a pip because it is time for a new character.
Oh.
It is time for yellow character.
Lemon Dude. No. Who is it?
Page of Swords. Sorry, I just happened to glance at chat, and thank you very much. That is a very sweet thing of you to say. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna start setting up the location and motivation of this character. But if someone from chat wants to say who the character is,
you guys get to name him. Hurry up.
Collaborative.
Please. Collaborative naming.
So I'm gonna say that this mystery character shows up at the fair, and for some reason, might become more clear in just a moment once we know who this character is. This character does not like Debbie.
Oh no. But Debbie's just a little girl. Lemonade Man is a rival of Orange Ice Cream Man.
So Lemonade Man has been snubbed on more than one occasion by this little girl, who has always sided instead with Orange Man. So Lemonade Man's not thrilled at all with her. Not thrilled at all with Debbie.
Wow. Well. All right. For mine, I believe I can cash out the one closest to the numpad. Yes, because Debbie has the hearts for her papa, who has a crown.
That family love.
So my ulterior motive has been satisfied.
So I just added a new character, so you can take the motivation or location action, and it won't trigger the extra thing for me, if that's one of your concerns. But
I was thinking moving him would be kind of interesting, but actually, I think what's going to happen is Orange Man is going to go back to his corner.
Oh yeah.
He's worried that he saw the worry from Jimmy Jim Jim, and it's like, I know where she usually is when I'm at my corner. She's usually there from blah blah blah. I'll go check. So he's going to find Debbie.
I like Orange Man's redemption arc.
Yeah, I don't
Glad
like grumpy people.
It turned out to be a pretty cool dude after all. So yes, this is the card I was setting myself up for last turn. So Lemonade Man likes Renaissance festivals, but does not like Debbie, who's in another location.
That worked.
So you took a location action last turn. Okay, I'm gonna say.
Lemonade Man is also Orange Man's ex-husband. They used to live on that farm together. They couldn't have children, and Debbie reminds him of how he lost his hopes and dreams.
No.
Oh my god.
Okay, no, I can work with that, actually. So Orange Man went to the corner out of concern for Debbie, but actually upon arriving there, the the visual of seeing Debbie here, it just, and specifically seeing Debbie so like into her pops and all that, it reminds him of the life that he couldn't have with Lemonade Man. And so he although not, although I mean clearly, there's something to Orange Man, he's just overcome by this wave of negative feeling inspired by Debbie.
Aww.
Of just these memories of a life that just never was.
Aww. So sad. These poor citrus people.
So that is my turn. I'll draw back another card.
Well, you actually set me up beautifully. The furthest from the numpad card, I believe, is the situation currently with Orange Man and Debbie.
That is exactly it.
They are alone, and one of them has X feelings. Then, for an action...
I like this game is possibly more fun with a chat channel that is
just commenting and making sure we stick to our story.
Yeah.
They're like, oh. Oh, could I have my other motivation card? Oh, no, not yet. I have to do my action first, right? I can't do it out of order.
End of your turn.
That would be cheating. I thought I was done for some reason, but I'm not. I can do things. Debbie's gonna see Orange Man and get really excited to see him because she was feeling lonely and getting a little bit scared and uncomfortable because usually at least, Lemonade Man was around on that corner and she was all by herself. So her thoughts of affection will switch to Orange Man.
All right.
Such complex, dramatical things, guys. Behold all the drama.
One of the neat things, or one of the things I tried to do with this game was to make it so that it could tell any story. And then one of the things that happens is that because it can, these characters can be almost anything. Like just going into the game, you don't even know what type of story it's gonna be.
For sure, I had no idea there would be so much citrus involved.
For example. All right, I can probably score. Yes, I can score one of these because Debbie has motivations towards Orange Man, and they're in the same location.
They are in the same location. So everybody watching, does this game make sense? What do you guys think? How is it for a prototype game? Have you ever seen anything like it? And if so, how much better is this game? I just like it because the truth is, like, with these characters, we could be telling a story about a porn shoot if we wanted to. Like, honestly, it doesn't have to be so clean cut and, like, nice and friendly and stuff. It could be like, this person's the dom and this person's stuff is happening and then they get interrupted by their mom and, it could be anything.
The last game we played was very sci-fi, right? It was all about planet hopping.
It was.
Gabe Newell was there.
Yeah.
It was like a strange dream.
But there was also like Gabe Newell was in a hot tub with one of the other guys' wives.
Oh yeah, so it was a little bit porny too.
Yeah, it was there was a little R-rated drama happening. It was good. All right. Did you take your action?
I haven't yet. I think I'm actually going to, yes, I'm going to forego my action. I'm going to take a pip.
Stocking up on pips.
Yeah. And I'm going to say a plane loudly flies overhead. And that's my turn. So I'll draw a card.
I believe I can cash the one furthest from the numpad, my new card. Yes.
Hey, look at that.
Yeah, it was hard to do.
Yeah, you got it set up there.
Yeah.
Teamwork. I helped out with that one a little bit.
Yeah, you did. It was great.
And it has stars, so you get pip.
I get a pip. Pip, 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 cheerio. They should look like Cheerios. That'd be perfect.
And then I could just put one of those like, do not eat these things warning on the box.
That would be important. Are they called pips, like officially, or do they have a different name in the doc?
I think in the rules I refer to them as credits.
Credits. There you go, Raving Roshi. They're not pips. We're just calling them pips because that's, I don't know, because we are.
Yeah, I don't know how well you can see them, but they're actually they're what they literally are, like in real life, is those little like rounded wooden things that you stick into drill holes in furniture. I needed something that would serve as like little whatevers, and that was the most convenient thing at the craft store.
Yep. It works. They're nice too. I actually like them. They're like curved on the one side and flat on the other with a little indent. They're pretty neat.
They do a little weeble wobble action.
Yeah. Oh man. So for my action, I'm gonna forgo my action too.
Hey.
I think because and just Debbie and Orange Man converse a little bit so that she knows that her dad's worried about her or something.
Yep. Little chat.
Yeah,
little heart to heart.
A little chat so she feels a little more at ease.
Orange Man, actually, Orange Man actually and Lemonade Man, neither of them are a fan of Little Debbie right now.
My goodness. You hedged your bets there. You made sure everybody hates her. Gosh.
And it paid off. Sometimes it pays off to make people hate little girls. That's the moral of the story. Nope, that's a terrible thing. I'm actually gonna. What's funny is this is actually the first playtest with the current rule set in a 2-player game.
Ooh, we're playtesting, guys.
Yeah, so this is. I actually don't know how this is gonna go.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
It amused me that this is more than I expected people to forgo actions, but I'm gonna do it again, and I'm going to. I'm going to say that actually very many planes fly overhead. They're all very loud.
Lots of loud planes.
Yeah, I don't know what that means, but maybe it's a little foreshadowing.
Oh my.
Could be.
Loud planes. Oh no. Oh no, do I do that? Oh man. Okay. I'm going to claim the card closest to the numpad. Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Feelings right there. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You got it. But all of those loud airplanes, it turns out that they're enemy bombers.
Oh no!
Oh no! They're gonna bomb the Ren Fair.
Oh no!
And Jimmy Jim Jim is going to die.
Oh, Jimmy Jim Jim! Oh, Jimmy Jim Jim, no!
His limbs are scattered across many other people. Lemonade Man, luckily, was protected by all of his lemonade.
That's so unfair. The Ren Fair had no weapons that could stand a chance.
That's right.
Where were the dragons? Where? Okay, so you get... that costs a pip.
Yes, that costs a pip.
You get a card.
Mm-hmm.
You just activated my trap card.
No! He's alone, together, by himself, I guess.
Yeah, Lemonade Man clutching the poor dear departed Jimmy Jim Jim in his arms, screaming towards the heavens.
No!
That's actually going to be my bit of color as I will again forego my action for the turn.
Oh, well, fine. Gosh.
One thing that... Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, one thing that I'm kind of changing in the way that, like, the rules are... not. It's not actually a functional rule change, but... well, no, it kind of is, too, actually. For like just versus the way that we kind of the last time I described the game to you. One thing I'm going to change is moving an emphasis away. Like previously, I wanted all the storytelling basically to revolve around the actions, but I'm basically going to change it. Instead, it's going to basically be that like on your turn, you can do as much storytelling as you want. You basically have the floor, and it's your story to be telling. Which this isn't really a functional rule change because the rule is still basically that you can only take one action. But I'm basically just saying it the other way. It's not that like take an action and justify it. It's more like, you know, tell whatever story you want, and that story can include one action. So
right.
It's like I realized that the previous like rules as they had been like laid out they had a very competitive bent. They were like the gamesman's approach to like how to describe the game. And because I don't want that to be the only audience for the game, I want it to be that I want to play up the storytelling element. So yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes just in the way you word things, it closes options off to people without them even knowing, you know? So by wording it in a way that it's more open, even though most people might still interpret it all kind of in a like a competitive sort of way, it might not immediately do that for everybody. So there might be people who suddenly go around telling all kinds of things about the story instead of just like one little quick step.
Yeah, I want that to be. I want to do everything I can to play up and, you know, really encourage people to go that way.
Yeah, Wraith goes, yeah, and then the house rules with an hourglass timer for the more wordy players.
Yeah.
All right, it's my turn, right?
Yep. Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna cash in the furthest from the numpad once more.
Yeah.
They're still there. But even though Orange Man is feeling very sad about his daughter from long ago and this divorce with Lemonade Man, he hears the bombing and knows the direction that it's come from, and he's immediately filled with concern for Lemonade Man, even though there was such a rough divorce and they still have to like see each other across the street and stuff like that. He's so concerned. He's just like his heart skips a beat kind of feelings. So switch him over for love.
Okay. Yeah, I was just gonna ask, is it like a fearful sort of concern, or is it a compassionate?
It's compassion. Okay. And then, that's my action.
Get another card, and then let's see. Haha! You're playing this game for me, Alex.
Oh no!
I'll swear that one. And then so yes, it in fact what happens is Lemonade Man holds a small funerary service. Not really. No. Lemonade Man collects himself and says goodbye to his dearly departed friend Jim, who I don't actually know if they even knew each other, but whatever. He leaves the Ren Fair, and he goes to the street corner because he really doesn't know where else to go.
Oh.
Okay.
My.
So that's what happens there.
All right. Well, that's fine. I'm gonna cash in the card closest to the numpad.
This one here.
Yep, because two of them have loves.
Indeed.
They have loves. So poor Debbie. Lemonade Man comes out and she finds little splattered bits of her papa's king's cloak all over Lemonade Man. And she just gets filled with that childish, like when something bad happens and you have to blame somebody. And so she's just like, Lemonade Man, you could have saved my father. And so she's going to be very upset with Lemonade Man.
Why didn't you do more?
You could have saved him instead of just saving yourself and stuff like that. So So that's her at this moment. Tears streaming down her face. The dust from all of these horrible bombs settling onto her cheeks so that like there's dark streaks. It's very sad, very dramatic.
And the ice cream person still hasn't come.
That's right.
What the heck?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, you get another card.
Oh yes, thanks.
This one is true. This orange man positive feelings towards.
Yes, towards yellow dude, and they're in the same location.
I will say that for a moment, for just a brief moment, they with just racked with grief and so overcome with emotions, they all have a group hug. And for just a moment, it's almost as if they were the family that they never really were.
Oh.
And then I took a pip because
You're foregoing your action.
Yeah.
Gosh. I can. I'm gonna cash in the one furthest from the numpad again, because 2 people have negative feelings currently. And after the group hug, Lemonade Man has this really interesting idea, and he's feeling really kind of sorry for Debbie, even though he's kind of jealous and upset at her for having this relationship with Orange Man. But Lemonade Guy, he kind of can picture himself again with Orange Man, and maybe Debbie, maybe they could adopt Debbie. And so he's feeling a little love kind of surging up from this lemony citrus spot in his soul.
Towards Orange Man?
Towards the Orange Guy, yes, okay. Yes. You're interpreting my stories very well in real time, I have to say. Yeah, go ahead. I think it's your turn, right?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
That's all my actions.
And then I will play, is this one about?
I like that AC Wraith called this Paper Sims. Debbie goes in the bathroom for 12 hours. Sorry.
I will score this one for they have positive motivation in the same location. And then I will take my action this turn. I'm going to spend a pip to add in a new character.
A new character arrives! Drum roll, boom, 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 boom.
This is Madeline. Madeline, the fighter pilot.
Whoa!
Bum, bum, bum. Madeline rolls in and points at little Debbie and shouts, "You!"
Cool.
You!
Oh no!
A very foreboding tone. Clearly, Madeline has it out for little Debbie.
Oh no!
I guess technically her name is Debbie, but she's little, so I started calling her Little Debbie.
I noticed that. I wasn't going to say anything. I liked it. Suddenly, she's made of cream-filled cake. I think... yes! Oh, I can. I did do it right. The card closest to the numpad. That. Because Orange and Lemon Man, they have made some citrusy feelings towards each other.
There you go. And then you get a little pip for it.
And I'm going to... Debbie is going to run. She's scared. Debbie is going to run home. She's got her own key, and she runs home, and she locks the door behind her.
It's probably smart. Madeline might have just killed her dad, so...
Yeah! Who knows what's going on? So she's running.
You get another card.
Yay.
And then, you foiled my plan. You did it.
I did, finally!
You finally accomplished your sinister end.
The tides have turned! My ulterior motives paid off.
Debbie Debbie is horrified and does not know what to think, but she is very competent and very forward-thinking. She manages to pull herself together. She busts out her cell and Snapchats Orange Dude, and says, "Help me! I fear for my safety, and I need your help on this issue." And then she begins to lay out a detailed plan of hers.
Oh, plan.
Yeah. So that is the action that I took.
She's Snapchatting with Orange Man. A plan. Okay.
I did this in the wrong order, but I'm also going to discard a card.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm going to draw a new card.
That's fine.
I should have done that first, but actually, I wouldn't draw the card until the end of the turn, anyways. Okay, and that's the end of the turn. I drew a card.
I think that play order works either way, actually, since you're not seeing a new card until the end, anyhow. It doesn't affect much. I pick a card, any card. No, actually, I think the only one I can cast right now is the one furthest from the numpad, because Madeline has negative feelings towards Debbie.
This one actually would be true if Debbie herself had negative.
Oh, I got it wrong. The other one then. Sorry.
Yes, this one is true.
Oops. All right. Right. That makes sense. Of course it does. I was just thinking like, oh, it just means somebody has negative emotions or positive emotions. But it means that person's specific emotion. Got it. I'm learning.
If you want to think of it one way, she's wearing her heart on her sleeve. Okay. No, that's okay.
Madeline, who was one of the fighter pilots dispatched to escort the bombers of the battle for Ren Fair Square, but was shot down. She knows the truth. The bombers, they were only there after Debbie the whole time.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, no.
That's canon, actually.
It's going to have to be now. So Madeline is going to have seen Debbie run off, and Madeline is going to chase after her. She's going to be right outside her door.
Same location.
So I guess so. Outside as opposed to inside. It's basically the same location,
like
right?
the general, the same property.
Yeah. And I'm done. I just need a card.
Oh, yes.
Let's wrap this up shortly.
I was actually just going to say we can't play much longer because there are only 3 cards left in the deck.
Yeah, so you want to take... who started? You did.
I took the first turn, so
I take the last
turn? We
turn?
could call it here, actually, because you just took a turn.
Okay. I think you're going to win, but
right.
that's cool. You get to end the story. Debbie is just an innocent little girl. Debbie didn't know she was passing on classified information. Debbie, there was something important at the Ren Fair.
I did. I snuck out that victory. I got off to a strong start. If we'd continued playing, like, it was the sort of thing, like, I don't know, if we did do a couple more rounds, like, it got to the point that you had kind of, like, rested, because I kept passing so many turns that, like, you had kind of gotten control of the story. So, I don't know, you can't,
It's interesting,
You definitely, like, you ran up against some obstacles early on, but it could have turned around. But I did get more points, so I get to say how the story ends. So, Debbie, seeing Madeline pounding at the front door, bursts into tears.
Oh no!
Completely overwhelmed. No, Madeline, no! I'm so worried and afraid and scared. Meanwhile, on her cellular device, she's Snapchatting a small army of all of her dear friends. Debbie is well-loved and respected amongst her community and rallies the support of all of her friends. And even although Madeline's squadron, Madeline calls in her squadron for backup, Debbie's army that she has mustered rolls in, and there's a grand martial arts showdown between the citrus people swinging their bushels of citrus and the kung fu squadron bombers, which they apparently were, and although things look very heated and who knows how it could turn out, It is when Debbie herself jumps into the fray and kung fu's Madeline all the way out of the planet.
Secretly, this Red Fair was a martial arts training thing.
Debbie is able to secure victory for her community and avenge her father.
Yay!
And although she is alone without family, she realizes that she has family amongst her community of citrus people. And in fact, she goes to live with the citrus people who have gotten back together, and
yay.
they all live happily together.
Yay! Best possible outcome. yeah. Page of Swords was like, I hope they adopt Debbie.
All right, yeah.
And Ray says, Debbie is queen of the Renaissance now. Damn straight she has an army. Awesome. So that, everybody, is Cool Story, which is coming out who knows when.
Could be this year.
But it is by Ben, and if you want to keep touch and understand the things, and maybe he'll eventually like tweet some stuff, or who knows, there is a Twitter you can follow, which is at BENJ_red, which is on the screen. You can see it right there. It's also his Twitch username, and he sometimes just like streaming things. He does things. Pager Sword says that was in fact a cool story, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We were all part of that one.
Yeah, that was fun. I think doing that with an audience is probably my favorite way. That's my preferred method. That's really fun. But yeah, so that's Cool Story, and this is Ben Red, who's our first ever guest for the DEVSOLUTELY show.
Hey.
This is his face if you've only just recently tuned in.
Thank you everyone for playing.
That was really fun. As far as being a guest on the show goes, is there anything else that you'd want to cover or do before we wrap it up? Because we actually have gone for like 2.5 hours, which means we had fun and it's great. So,
I would concur. I think this has been a really enjoyable experience, and I had a lot of fun. I didn't have any specific agenda coming in, so we cleared all my checkpoint items that I was hoping to cover today. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yay! And it flowed really. I think you did amazingly. You've never, like you said to me, that you've never really been on like a talk showy sort of thing before, and you talked. It was great. There was showing and talking. It was wonderful. You've been a wonderful guest, actually. I had a lot of fun. So.
Thank you so much for having me. I think that's in large part to your wonderful hosting.
Woo!
I look forward to future Sundays wherein I will get to tune in and be one of the chat people playing along at home for whatever other fun guests you get for this program.
You'll have to see. First off, I had to make sure this wasn't gonna like explode and be a horrible flop. So that's out of the way now. Yay!
We did it.
Awesome. Okay. I don't really know how to end the show, so should we sing a song?
I was just gonna say a musical number. Oh,
yes! Awesome, let's do it. Should it be like a couple of words at a time and we sing in between, or should it be a song we both know, which might be a little harder to find?
How about if you take it away, I'll accompany. I'll pick up with the harmonies.
Oh, uh-oh. That sounds terrifying.
Should we warn everyone that we are not, in fact, professional musicians?
I think I'm guessing that we should do sort of like a 80s cartoon show theme.
Okay.
Does that sound pretty good? Like that, because then there's like the backup vocals sometimes and things like that. You could be musical instruments too, right? You know how to do that?
Okay.
Like ba ba ba. Yeah.
Bo bo bo.
Oh God, what are we doing? I guess it should be called the DEVSOLUTELY show or something like that, right? So it's been lots of fun, everyone sing along. It's the DEVSOLUTELY show. We talked to Ben, it was lots of fun, and now it's time to go. It's time to go. And it's the DEVSOLUTELY show. And we're gone. All right. So you are, oh, oops, I'm breaking things. You are free to leave. I am also going to leave now because we have successfully ended the show. So thanks again, once again, one and all. We'll try this again next Sunday.
Everyone at home, you're also free to do what your free will would have.
Yes, that's right. Everyone at home, you're free to stop watching because there won't be anything to watch. So there you are.
Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you again, Alex, for having me. This is a lot of fun.
It was great. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody. See you later.
Bye.